Simulan mong abutin ang iyong pangarap na magbibigay dangal sa iyong bukas. Ang suliranin, hindi laging nandyan, dapat mong harapin. Kami iyong kasama sa bawat takin, magkaakbay nating lulutasin. Dito sa Fernandino Teens TV, ang boses mo ay mahalaga. Dito sa Fernandino Teens TV, ikaw lagi ang bida. Ang mga aral ay ginintuang atin ng bawat guro na siyang gagabay sa iyong pagkamulat. Naway umukit ito sa iyong isipan, maging mapanuri, sundin ng wasto at nararapat. Kagandahang asal ang ipakita, ipadama ang pusong may malasakit. Dito sa Fernandino Teens TV, ang boses mo ay mahalaga. Dito sa Fernandino Teens TV, ikaw lagi ang bida. Sakali mang tayo'y subukin ng unos, ating haharapin ng walang takot. Sasamahan ka ni Fernan at Dino, ang bagong barkada mo. Dito sa Fernandino Teens TV, boses mo ay mahalaga. Dito sa Fernandino Teens TV, edukasyon mo'y sigurado na. Dito sa Fernandino Teens TV, boses mo ay mahalaga. Dito sa Fernandino Teens TV, edukasyon mo'y sigurado na.
Fernandino Teens TV.
Uy guys! Napanood nyo ba ang Miss Universe nung nakaraang araw?
Oo nga, tumitigil ang buong mundo, lalo na sa mga pageant fans sa Pilipinas.
Oo, isa sa pinaka-aabangan ay ang question and answer portion ng mga finalists sa Miss Universe.
Oo nga! Nasusukat ang kanilang katalinuhan sa kanilang pagsagot.
Paano kaya matututuhan ng ganong delivery?
Ang mabuti pa, manood muna tayo ng Fernandino Teens TV. Tungkol dyan ang ating talakayan. Tara,
Let's watch and learn!
Good morning, Fernandino Teens. I am Miss Anna Marie Y. Tiglao, your teacher lecturer for today's episode. To start with, let us observe the pictures that will be shown on the screen and ponder on the following questions. Then, type your answer in the comment box below or write it down on a sheet of paper. First, have you ever watched or listened to the question and answer portion in the Miss Universe pageant? If yes, have you ever thought of the type of speech delivered by the contestant in answering the question? Second, have you ever experienced reporting in front of the class? Are you aware of type of speech that should be used in delivering your report? Third, have you ever watched the President delivering the State of Nation address? What do you think is the type of speech being used? Let us check your answer as we go over the lesson titled Speeches, Your Delivery and Purpose Matter. Our lesson objectives for today are the following. First, name the type of speech according to purpose and according to delivery. Second, identify public speaking situations. Third, give examples of public speaking situations. At this juncture, I want you to watch and listen to one example of public speaking event organized by the Toastmasters International.
Josephine Lee. I will be there. I will be there, Josephine Lee. All the best to you.
I will be there. Those 4 words can help you make a friend. And if you say it enough times and follow through, you will make a lifelong friend. Mr. Contest Chair, potential lifelong friends. Do you have someone that you can always count on? For me, it was Jenna. From grade school to college, she was my best friend. And whatever I needed, she was always there. Jenna, can I have some of your gummy bears? Of course. Jenna, I forgot to bring my lunch. Here, have some of mine. Jenna, do you want to go to McDonald's? How are you always hungry? You just ate. Twice. Growing up, we talked about college.
After listening to the speech of the contestant, you may have noticed that, aside from the speech content, the delivery was also essential. The speaker seemed so natural, and that would perhaps make you wonder if she was a naturally born effective speaker, or underwent intensive formal training, or got involved in several speaking situations. You should always remember that public speaking is not just about reading your speech or talking about your topic. It requires making connection with your audience and presenting yourself in public. Speeches are classified according to purpose and delivery from which you choose the speech suitable in a particular context. We will know more about the type of speeches according to purpose when Fernandino Teens TV returns.
Ang Schools Division Office City of San Fernando, Pampanga ay kaisa ng Department of Education sa pagsasagawa ng mga proyekto at programa na tumutugon sa mga pangangailangan ng mga mag-aaral. Inilunsad ang Division Call Center for Tutors and Guidance Counselors upang magbigay ng educational at psychological assistance sa mga mag-aaral, magulang at stakeholders ng division. Kaya, kung may nais kayong itanong tungkol sa pag-aaral, maaaring magpadala ng mensahe sa Division Call Center for Tutors and Guidance Counselors Facebook page o tumawag sa mga numero na makikita sa ibaba ng inyong screen tuwing Lunes hanggang Biyernes sa ganap na alas 8 ng umaga hanggang alas 6 ng gabi. Maaari rin kayong sumangguni sa ating guidance counselors na nagbibigay ng guidance and counseling services. Lahat ng inyong ibabahagi ay mananatiling confidential. Ang nasabing programa ay nagsisilbing daan upang malaman ang feedbacks ng stakeholders para matulungan ang ating divisyon na mapagbuti pa ang mga sumusunod na programa. Ano pang hinihintay ninyo? Tumawag na sa aming mga numero o bumisita na sa aming Facebook page at magpadala ng inyong mga katanungan.
Fernandino Teens TV.
Welcome back, Fernandino Teens. In a conversation, the speaker usually shares his or her thoughts to the receiver of the message with a specific goal. For instance, family members exchange dialogue to update each other about their day. Another, a reporter interviews people to gather information while guidance counselor talks to students to address various concerns. Just like in a simple conversation, a speaker who delivers a speech expresses his or her thoughts with a purpose in mind. Let us familiarize ourselves with the types of speech according to purpose. First, we have informative speech. From the word itself, informative, the primary purpose of this speech is to inform. This speech provides the audience with a clear understanding of the concept or idea. As a speaker, you have to make them understand the topic. A common example of this is the lecture of your teacher or exactly what I'm doing right now. Other examples are, first, a guest speaker is presenting information to a group of students on how to apply for college. Next, a doctor is talking to a group of people in a community about the ways to prevent COVID-19. Lastly, a vlogger is sharing his recipe on how to cook a certain meal. The second type of speech according to purpose is the entertainment speech. This type of speech can make the audience smile or provide positive spirit. It intends to amuse the audience or arouse their emotions. The best example of this speech are the humorous speeches of the comedians and performers. But note that this speech is anything of interest. So the question is, do you consider horror stories or movies told by your grandparents as an entertainment speech? Yes or no? Great! Horror stories are also considered entertainment speech, since many of us love to hear or watch horror movies, which arouses the audience's emotions and amuses them in any way. The last type of speech according to purpose is the persuasive speech. This type of speech aims to persuade or convince the listeners on the validity of the speaker's arguments, beliefs, or proposal. It may attempt to persuade someone to change his opinion. Campaign speeches of the running candidates for the government position are the best examples of this type. Other examples are, number 1, a salesman is convincing the customer to buy his product. Number 2, a teenager is attempting to convince her parents that she needs to stay out until 11 in the evening. Let us assess our understanding on the different types of speech according to purpose by analyzing the intended purpose in the following situation. You may type your answer in the comment box below or write it on a sheet of paper. Number 1, the professor presents the different models of communication. A. Informative speech. B. Entertainment speech. C. Persuasive speech. Correct. The answer is letter A, informative speech. The professor gives information on a certain topic. Number 2, soldiers convince their captain to revise their strategy. A. Informative speech. B. Entertainment speech. C. Persuasive speech. Great! The answer is letter C, persuasive speech. The soldiers try to persuade their captain. Number 3, the bride talks about her fun moments in the past with her husband during their wedding. A. Informative speech. B. Entertainment speech. C. Persuasive speech. You got it right! The answer is letter B, entertainment speech. The bride entertains their guests about the funny moments with her husband. Number 4, a rallying crowd influences the president to lower the tax rate. A. Informative speech. B. Entertainment speech. C. Persuasive speech. Great! The answer is letter C, persuasive speech. The rallying crowd tries to convince the president to favor their own opinion. Number 4, a rallying crowd influences the president to lower the tax rate. A. Informative speech. B. Entertainment speech. C. Persuasive speech. Great! The answer is letter C, persuasive speech. The rallying crowd tries to convince the president to favor their own ideas. Let us have another activity. Here's what you need to do. Analyze the phrases and excerpts taken from the different speeches. Identify whether the given phrase is informative, persuasive, or entertainment. You may write your answer on the comment box below. Let us begin. First item, if possible, buy your fruit and vegetables from local suppliers and try to avoid imported goods. What is your answer? Correct. The answer is persuasive. The speaker is trying to convince the customer to purchase locally produced goods. Let us have the next one. The idea of hybrids dates back to the mythology of ancient times. Folktales were full of animal-human hybrid stories like mermaids and minotaurs. What do you think is the purpose of the speaker? Good job! The answer is informative. The speaker intends to impart knowledge regarding the mythological creatures from ancient folktales. Another one, caffeine. Caffeine, which comes from the leaves, seeds, and fruits of about 63 different plants, is well known as a stimulant. What is your answer? Great! The answer is informative. The speaker aims to make the listeners aware that caffeine serves as a stimulant. How about the next excerpt? The hilarious clip of Jokoy became viral for discussing his Filipino mother's penchant for using popular ointment with medicated vapors that he affectionately pronounces as Vicks Vaporub. What is your answer? Very good. The answer is entertainment. The speaker is sharing the fun of listening to the stand-up film comedian, Jokoy. Number 5. One of the effects of using illegal drugs, such as disturbance in our health, can lead to an increased risk of heart failure. What is your answer? The answer is informative. The speaker raises awareness on the effects of illegal drugs to the human body. These are the key ideas that we need to remember in understanding types of speech according to purpose. First, an informative speech allows the audience to understand a concept or idea. Second, an entertainment speech amuses the audience. Lastly, a persuasive speech seeks to provide the audience with favorable or acceptable ideas that can influence their own ideas and decisions. I hope that you enjoyed this part of our learning episode. Let us discover the different types of speech according to delivery. So don't go away because Fernandino Teens TV will be back after a short break.
Maya po oras kaya kayo, Fernandinos. Ako pala ay Elwin Arl Serrano ng City Tourism Office ng Siyudad San Fernando. Ngayong bulan na ini, pagmasusyantaya ang National Heritage Month, na ating temang Victory and Humanity, Upholding Filipino Heritage and Identity. Kambena nini, metong karang aktibidades na ng syudad, apin ning launching ning bayong Heritage Passport. Yung Heritage Passport, apin ning metong karing proyekto ning kakatamong syudad, king paminamuna ng Mayor Edwin D. Santiago. Anong nuka rin makalagelangan ding eganagan ng heritage sites, heritage structures, naakit tamo king katamong heritage district. Makakayado din kini, ding importansya da ding mapil na tradisyon, kini syudad, kalupa na ning pamangawang parol, ang poing pamangalesa. May awo siyang heritage passport, uling atin kang dapat gawan, anong nukaran puntalan mula ding at tsuking passport, at saka ka mag-selfie. Kay ba't kanta, palto making tourism office, at mamiyalang sticker ka rin eganagan ang apuntulan mong lugar. At timaw may ngari ang tutong passport. Balo mi ngeni, panahon na ini, etamo makain bisa lumal, uli na ning COVID-19 pandemic. Kaya naman kimbanwa nga ini, agkatan ko la ding bikers tamo, edad 18 hanggang 50, imbis na lumaot kayo po, di na nyo lang dita ka oras di kaya katamong heritage structures, keni syudad. Anya naman karing mumunang 50 bikers ang makayari kaya katamong heritage passport, midinan lang premyong Only San Fernando Loot Bag. Inggawan nyo mo bakanta makapag-register, munta kayo mismo opisina na ng City Tourism, yung munisipyo, at saka kayo magdalang metong valid ID. Kabiyanin kaya kayong heritage passport, ating makasipit ang instruction nung nano pa ing dapat gawan. Anya naman ka rin hanggang kapadyakin, nanano ko pa, tara na!
Fernandino Teens TV.
You are still watching Fernandino Teens TV. At this point in time, let me share with you the types of speech according to delivery. What is delivery? In the context of speech, delivery refers to the actual presentation of the speech. A speaker can choose from the different ways of delivering a speech. The first one is a manuscript speech. When speaking from a manuscript, you write and deliver a speech word for word. Thus, you can plan, prepare, and rehearse the speech beforehand. Some examples of this type of speech are: first, reading the rules and criteria in a contest. Second, newscasting with a teleprompter in an auto-cue device. Lastly, delivering a presidential speech like Sona. What do you think is the disadvantage of reading a manuscript? Since you are reading from a manuscript, you have less time to make proper eye contact with the audience, which may lead to losing rapport or connection with the audience. Eventually, this will end up having a boring or uninteresting presentation. For you to have a good manuscript speech, rehearse the speech over and over again until you sound natural. Let us try to answer this question. Is presenting legal proceedings and verdict in court a manuscript speech? Yes or no? Very good. The answer is yes. It is a manuscript speech. What about this one? Let us watch for a while and figure out if it is a manuscript speech.
Wait lang. I think the best way to explain my speech to ate is through a song. Hit it, DJ. Whew. So this is one of our favorite Disney movies. Look at this girl, isn't she sweet? She enjoys posing and acting upbeat. Wouldn't you think she's the girl who knows everything? First acting gig, fell on the floor. Mommy and Dad, she remembers no more. Sino ako? She'd repeat. Why? She wanted Jollibee. And years later, she starts getting artsy. Lipstick liners and makeups galore. Korean skincare routine, she's got 20. But who cares? No big deal. She wants more. I want you to have a happy life. Oh my gosh. I wanna see you dancing, walking around with chinks. What do you call him? Oh, sweets. You're a good person, you'll go so far. And when life seems to be too
The video presented a speech given on a wedding day by a maid of honor during a wine toast. Was it delivered from a manuscript? Yes or no? Correct. The answer is no. This speech is a memorized speech. So, what is a memorized speech? Memorized speech is a second type of speech according to delivery. It requires you to commit the speech to memory. Same with the manuscript. You can also have advanced preparation and rehearsal for this type. Let us cite some example speaking situation of the memorized speech. First, when one delivers a declamation or oratorical speech. Second, when an actor or actress in a scene performs a script from a memory. Lastly, when you act in a stage play. For us to further understand the types of speech according to delivery, let us watch another sample video of public speaking situation.
Okay. For my soulmate. Kobe was known as a fierce competitor on the basketball court. The greatest of all time, a writer, an Oscar winner, and the Black Mamba. But to me, he was Kobe, my boo-boo, my baby, my papi chulo. I was his Bibi, his Principesa, his Reina, his Queen Mamba, and his Visky, Maniski, Fabuliski. I couldn't see him as a celebrity, nor just an incredible basketball player. He was my sweet husband and the beautiful father of our children. He was mine. He was my everything. Kobe and I have been together since I was 17 and a half years old. I was his first girlfriend, his first love, his wife, his best friend, his confidant, and his protector. He was the most amazing husband.
What have you observed in the video? Is delivering a eulogy during a death of a loved one a memorized speech or a manuscript speech? Very good. The answer is a memorized speech. Here is what you need to remember in order to have a good memorized speech. Speak out. Do not memorize the speech silently. When you recite your speech repeatedly while memorizing it, your brain multitasks and aids your memory retention. These are some disadvantages of the memorized speech. 1. Can make you nervous, which can cause you to forget some part of your speech. 2. You may end up in a boring and monotonous presentation. 3. Memorization demands time. For the third type, we have extemporaneous speech. This is the most popular type of speech according to delivery. An extemporaneous speech is a planned and prepared speech. Unlike memorized or manuscript speeches delivered word for word, an extemporaneous speech is delivered with the help of short notes and a clear outline. Most people who speak in public often prefer the extemporaneous method of delivery. Although it might look more challenging than the manuscript or memorized speeches, it is more spontaneous and personal. These are the sample speaking situation of extemporaneous speech. First, when you are reporting in front of the class. Another, when a candidate in a student government is delivering his or her campaign speech before a voting public. The following are the significant tips for a successful extemporaneous speech. First, create an outline. Second, organize your points logically. Third, use facts and real-life experiences as your examples. Lastly, rehearse, rehearse, and rehearse. These are some disadvantages of extemporaneous speech. A speaker may not have adequate time to plan, organize, and rehearse. Thus, the speech can become messy and unorganized. Also, someone who does not have the skills and abilities necessary to deliver an extemporaneous speech might have difficulty weaving words together in a logical and organized manner. We are down to the last type of speech according to delivery. We have the impromptu speech. Impromptu speeches are delivered with little or no time for preparation. In most instances, you are called to speak at the spur of the moment because you are expected to know the subject. Generally, the speaker will be given 1 to 3 minutes to prepare for a speech that lasts around 5 to 8 minutes. Examples of this type of speech are debates, job interview, question and answer portion in a competition. Just like the other types of speech, impromptu
Hindi lamang sa larangan ng pangkabuhayan apektado ang maraming pamilyang Pilipino, kundi maging sa larangan ng pagkatuto ng bawat batang Pilipino. Inilunsad ng siyudad ng San Fernando ang programang Nurturing Environment and System for Thriving or NEST, isang education community pantry na naglalayon para sa isang malawakang pagtulong, pagantabay at paggabay na ang focus ay ang makapagbigay ng tulong at suporta sa ating mga mag-aaral sa pamamagitan ng pagbibigay ng educational needs gaya na lamang ng school supplies, tutorial sessions, study tips, at iba pang mga pamamaraan na mas lalong makatutulong sa pag-angat ng ating edukasyon. Dahil hindi hadlang ang pandemya sa magandang kinabukasang naghihintay sa ating mga mag-aaral. Sino-sino nga ba ang mga kalahok sa programang ito? Sa pagtutulungan ng ating school administrators, guro, magulang, at iba pang mga miyembro ng ating komunidad gaya ng barangay officials at sangguniang kabataan ay siguradong magiging mas matagumpay ang programang ito. Paano nga ba ang magiging proseso ng naturang programa? Una, magkakaroon tayo ng isang Facebook group, ang Pampanga High School NEST Education Community Pantry na pangungunahan ng Educational Pantry Coordinator. Ang mga magulang, tagapangalaga at mga guro ay ia-add ng ating Educational Pantry members sa Facebook group na ito. Sa page na ito maaaring i-post ng mga magulang at tagapangalaga o sino mang miyembro ng Educational Pantry ang kanilang mga kahilingan o requests. Kailangan ding ilagay ang pangalan ng mag-aaral, grade at section para sa mas agarang aksyon. Oo nga pala, hindi lang requests ang pwedeng i-post. Pwede ring mag-post ang mga nais magbigay ng tulong o mga gustong mag-donate. Sabi nga nila, sharing is caring. Tandaan na ang Facebook group na ito ay pribado at posts na may kaugnayan lamang sa page na ito ang maaaprobahan. Mayroon din palang Google Form na ipamamahagi kung saan maaari nating isumite ang ating requests o kahilingan. Paano naman ang mga walang internet access sa bahay? Huwag mangamba dahil merong mga nakalaang drop boxes ang ating paaralan na kung saan maaaring ihulog ng mga magulang at tagapangalaga ang kanilang requests. Sa mga nais namang mag-donate ng school supplies, maaaring ilagay ang mga ito sa tabi ng drop boxes. Maaari ring mag-donate ng mga kagamitan o cash donation kaakibat ang pagsusumite ng deed of donation form. Pangalawa, mahalaga ang ugnayan ng mga guro at ng mga magulang o tagapangalaga sa programang ito. Gamit ang video calls o chats ay ipahahayag ng mga guro ang adhikain ng programang ito sa mga magulang o tagapangalaga. Maaari ring gawin ang orientation na ito ng face-to-face, kasabay ng schedule ng kuhanan ng mga module. Gaya ng nabanggit, hindi lamang mga bagay ang maaaring i-donate. Pwede ring mag-conduct ng tutorial session, study tips, at iba pang mga kagamitan sa pagkatuto gaya ng mga aklat o kaya ay gadgets. Ikatlo, ang requested needs ng ating mga magulang o tagapangalaga ay ililista ng ating NEST focal person. Ang mga coordinator naman ang mag-aayos ng mga ito. Ang advisors ng ating mga mag-aaral, guidance counselor, at iba pang mga guro ay ipaaalam sa ating mga magulang at tagapangalaga ang petsa at oras ng pamimigay ng requested needs na gaganapin sa paaralan. Sabi nga nila, it takes a village to raise a child. Kaya naman aktibo at iba yung pakikilahok ang inaasahan sa pagsasanib puwersa ng paaralan at barangay na siyang tutukoy sa pangangailangan ng bawat Fernandinong mag-aaral at kikilos upang matugunan ito sa tulong at suporta rin ng mga miyembro ng komunidad. Isang malawakang komunidad para sa isang produktibong educational community pantry ay tiyak na lilikha ng iba yung pagkilos upang maging mas magaan at madali ang pagkatuto ng bawat kabataang Fernandino. Kaya naman tandaan, magbigay ayon sa kakayahan, kumuha ayon sa pangangailangan.
Fernandino Teens TV.
You are still tuned in to Fernandino Teens TV. Previously, we discussed the types of speech according to purpose and according to delivery. Let us now check if you can place the following types of speech on their corresponding box. You may type your answer on the comment box below or write it down on a sheet of paper. Here are your choices. A. Informative speech. B. Manuscript speech. C. Persuasive speech. D. Extemporaneous speech. E. Impromptu speech. F. Entertainment speech. And letter G. Memorize speech. Great job, Fernandino teens! Informative speech, entertainment speech, and persuasive speech are classified as type of speech according to purpose, while the manuscript speech, memorized speech, extemporaneous speech, and impromptu speech are classified as the type of speech according to delivery. Before we move to our last activity, let us familiarize ourselves with the principles of speech delivery. As a student or a future professional, you may need to either write your speech or prepare one for others. The principles of speech delivery are the foundations of a good speech. As mentioned a while back, for us to have a good speech, we have to prepare a good content and a clear outline. Assuming you have prepared a good one, but try to look at the different reaction of these people. They got bored, right? So, what do you think is the problem? The speaker was not able to capture the attention of the audience. Why? Very good, Fernandino teens. It is perhaps because of the voice or the body language of the speaker. A speaker's voice should never be monotonous. In public speaking or any conversation, our voice is part of our persona. The effects of it play a big role during conversation or a speech. A great speaker's voice sparkles with changes of pitch, volume, and speed. These are some of the voice elements and physical elements that should be considered during a speech. For the voice elements, we have number 1, articulation. It is the way or the style of the speaker when he delivers his speech. It is the process of how the speaker's sound are made. The way the speaker speaks naturally affects his overall speech performance. Therefore, the speaker should always take into consideration how to make his speech memorable and effective. Second is modulation. Modulation means controlling the pitch or tone of your voice so that the audience can clearly hear and understand your speech, lecture, or presentation. It simply means lowering your voice in order to make what you are saying more dramatic and mysterious. Once you have mastered the art of voice modulation, it can make your speech more interesting, understandable, and memorable to your audience. Tips on mastering modulation. Your tempo and pitch must vary according to your message. Speaking too fast can suggest a lack of confidence. Keep the normal speed of 125 words per minute. Speak loud enough such that the listener will not need to cough his ears to listen. Avoid fillers such as and For the physical elements, we have number 1, facial expression, gesture, and movements. These are forms of nonverbal communication, in which visible bodily action will help to strengthen the speaker's message during speech delivery. In speech delivery, gestures are form of nonverbal communication that emphasize a message or supplements the verbal message, such as pointing an object of discussion. Learning bodily action. Use gestures sparingly and with conviction. Lean towards your audience. Maintain eye contact. Avoid crossing your arms. Listen intently to questions. Avoid swaying back and forth at the lectern or podium. Move around the stage if it is comfortable to do so, but do not be stage neurotic. These are some of the examples of body movements during a speech. The last one is stage presence. It refers to the certain charisma and charm of a speaker. It is the ability of the speaker to make connection with the audience. If the speaker has a strong stage presence, he will establish rapport with his audience easily. Now, let us answer the initial activity a while ago. Identify the appropriate type of speech of the following speaking situations. Number 1, what type of speech delivery is the question and answer portion in a pageant competition? A. Impromptu speech. B. Informative speech. C. Persuasive speech. D. Memorized speech. Very good. It is a letter A. Impromptu speech. For number 2, what about reporting in front of the class? A. Impromptu speech. B. Extemporaneous speech. C. Persuasive speech. D. Memorized speech. You got it right. The answer is letter B. Extemporaneous speech. Next, what type of speech delivery is used in a presidential speech? A. Manuscript speech. B. Memorized speech. C. Impromptu speech. D. Extemporaneous speech. Correct! It is a reading from a manuscript. For number 4, what type of speech delivery is used in giving valedictory address? A. Manuscript speech. B. Memorized speech. C. Impromptu speech. D. Extemporaneous speech. Very good. The answer is letter A. Manuscript speech. For the last one, where can we classify flip-top bottle considering its purpose as a speech? A. Entertainment speech. B. Persuasive speech. C. Informative speech. D. Declarative speech. Great! The answer is letter A. Entertainment speech. It amuses the listeners or the audience with the kind of speech. Here are the key ideas we need to remember in presenting a speech. First, when delivering a speech, always have a clear goal in mind. Second, Choose the appropriate type of speech delivery based on your audience, context, and purpose. Lastly, consider and apply the various speech principles so that your speech will serve its purpose. These are the references used in this learning episode. Thank you for joining me in this meaningful learning episode. This has been your oral communication teacher lecturer, Miss Anna Marie Yumang Tiglao, and this is Fernandino Teens TV.
Napaka-interesting naman ng lesson ni Ma'am. Parang gusto ko na tuloy sumali sa mga beauty pageants. Handa na akong sumagot sa mga question and answer portion. And thank you.
Wow, Nan! Huwag mo kaming kalimutan kapag beauty queen ka na, ha?
Oo nga, Nan. May dalawa palang klase ng speech. Pwedeng according to purpose at according to delivery. Marami rin ba kayong natutuhan, Fernandino Teens? Kaya naman,
Maraming salamat, Ma'am!
Isa na namang makabuluhang talakayan ng ating natunghayan, Fernandino Teens. Magkita-kita tayong muli sa susunod na episode ng
Fernandino
Teens
TV,
na kung saan ang kabataang Fernandino ay angat sa angking talino.
Bagong umaga, yakapin mo ang bagong pag-asa. Simulan mong abutin ang iyong pangarap na magbibigay dangal sa iyong bukas. Ang suliranin, hindi laging nandyan, dapat mong harapin. Kami iyong kasama sa bawat takin, magkaakbay nating lulutasin. Dito sa Fernandino Teens TV, ang boses mo ay mahalaga. Dito sa Fernandino Teens TV, ikaw lagi ang bida. Ang mga aral ay ginintuang atin ng bawat guro na siyang gagabay sa iyong pagkamulat. Naway umukit ito sa iyong isipan, maging mapanuri